I rise like the sun sometimes, but then I fall. Like a black moon, I rise when the night falls. When the night falls, the mic calls, so listen, it's the ultraviolet rays that keep me rising on the mission. I rise like the sun sometimes, but then I fall. Like a black moon, I rise when the night calls. When the night falls, the mic calls, so listen, it's the ultraviolet rays that keep me rising on the mission.
What up, hype beast? You already know who it is. It's your boy back with another NBA breakdown video. So this breakdown goes out to my Houston Rocket hype beast out there. This one's for you. All right. The Rockets had a pretty great offseason, if I do say so myself, man. The big news was obviously that they traded Chris Paul for Russell Westbrook. So now the band is back together. The big story this year is going to be how Russell Westbrook and James Harden fit together. Now, we did see them together before in OKC. We saw James Harden coming off the bench. We saw Russell Westbrook, who was kind of the star. I mean, the secondary star to Kevin Durant, but almost like co-stars with Kevin Durant. But we saw Harden come off the bench. We saw Harden do a lot of the ball handling when he did play. And we saw them pretty successful together. But obviously, they were in different stages in their career. Now, James Harden is the man. He's the one who's the MVP candidate, every single year now. And Russell Westbrook, who was that guy, he was an MVP candidate a couple years ago. People are starting to question whether or not Russell Westbrook is washed. So, in very, very different stages of their career, and we are yet to know how Russell Westbrook can adjust. Now, he just got through playing with Paul George, and Paul George went from one of the better players in the NBA to he came in third as an MVP candidate. So he showed that he can, play with somebody else sharing the backcourt and have that person get all the shine. All right. So based on that, I feel like, it could very well work because we got the proof. There's a big sample size of last year. Paul George, having a outstanding season. So I'm not one of those people who are going to poo-poo Russell Westbrook or whatever. I do think they could work together and it could be, a very, very successful pairing. Now, the Rockets guard lineup next year is looking really nice to me. I mean, it's undersized, but it's nice. Now, you got Westbrook, you got Harden, you got Eric Gordon, who will most likely still be a six man. You have Austin Rivers, who is the backup for Russell Westbrook. I think that's going to be a nice piece for them going forward. You got newcomer Ben McLemore. Now, he's been, a letdown in his career so far, but I still do think he has promise. I don't think he sucks. He could defend, he could shoot threes, so I think he'll be a nice rotation piece if he gets to be a rotation piece at all. They have a bunch of young guys too who are just, aching for opportunity, but most likely won't see a whole lot of time. The Rockets' backcourt is going to be explosive offensively, but as usual, probably they're going to be really weak defensively. The Rockets may have to look into trading for a defensive-minded guard to help slow down some of the, more talented talented backcourts in the Western Conference. But ultimately, I like what they have going on in their backcourt. Now, the center rotation is going to be a bit of a question because which Clint Capella are you going to get this year? Remember, last season, Clint Capella was very, very disappointing, and in the playoffs, he was even more disappointing. You know what I mean? But this is all after he showed some immense promise in the previous year's playoff run. Remember when they almost knocked off Golden State? Clint Capella was a pretty big part of that. Him and Chris Paul had some chemistry going that was pretty, at times looked unstoppable. So which Clint Capella are we going to get this year? That's going to be a key for the Rockets. Also, Tyson Chandler as your main backup at this stage in his career is really setting yourself up for failure. They're going to have to trade for another quality center, or they're going to have to re-sign Fareed. But at this point, I don't even know how much Fareed still has left. Like, when he was in the rotation last season, he played good. But then he fell out of the rotation, especially as the playoffs came. So they're definitely going to need to look into getting another center. I like what the Rockets have to offer at the power forward positions, at the forward positions, even though, they might not be the biggest names. You do have the Thing, though. And who is the Thing? He's also known as the most important player on the team. He's also known as PJ Tucker. Now, This guy does everything you need him to do on the court. He guards everybody. Anybody you need him to guard, he'll switch on and guard. He sets good screens, he rebounds, he hits corner jumpers. On top of that, he raises his level of play in the playoffs every single season. You could always count on him to play extremely hard in the playoffs and give you much needed production. The other forward spot though is a little bit weaker. You have a couple different players who could grow into that starting role as the starting three. My favorite amongst these young players is Daniel House Jr. He's a good player, man. He's a long defender. He's athletic. He's a good spot up shooter. He plays hard on every possession. Personally, I like his game a lot. I think he's gonna be, a factor for the Rockets going forward for a while. And I also like that they paid him $11 million. 3 years, $11 million for a player that was on a two-way contract. He believed in himself. He turned down a small contract with the Rockets, and they had to bring him back for the playoffs because of the imprint he made on the team and how good he was playing. So much respect to Daniel House. I could see him becoming a starter, in the future. I don't know how soon in the future, but I could see him becoming a starter. But I think he's going to be a key piece for this team. At the end of the day, this team is going to come down to how Russell Westbrook and James Harden work together. I mean, there's really no other story other than that. That's the story of this season. How good are they going to work together? I personally think it's going to go a lot better than a lot of people give them credit for. A lot of people don't think it's going to work just because of Russell Westbrook, but I think a big part of the pairing is their relationship. I don't think Chris Paul and James Harden were the best of friends before they got together. So that's part of the reason why it didn't work. James Harden eventually just got tired of hearing Chris Paul yap. Just like Blake Griffin and DeAndre Jordan got tired of hearing Chris Paul yap. So I could totally see how that didn't work. These guys are friends. I could totally see Russell Westbrook taking a step back for Harden in a similar way that he did for Paul George. We've already seen him do it. So I wouldn't doubt that this is going to happen. And just on paper, could you imagine trying to guard a team in the fourth quarter of Westbrook, James Harden, Eric Gordon, PJ Tucker, and good Clint Capella? That teams will give any team in the NBA all kinds of matchup problems. And defensively, they wouldn't be that bad because you got Clint Capella. He has good size to protect the rim. You have PJ Tucker who can legit guard anybody. If you have Gordon and Harden and Westbrook just trying hard on defense, I think they could make up for the lack of size. And on offense, there is nobody who would be able to match up with this team. So I'm excited about the Rockets season. Let me know what you guys think down below about this Rockets team. How far do you think they are, and how good do you think they are in a competitive Western Conference? But anyway, let me know down below. All right, see you next time.